Have you ever walked away from an argument, heart pounding, your mind replaying what you should have said? Have you ever felt utterly defeated not because the other person was right, but because you just couldn't express yourself the way you wanted? Why do some people always seem to stay calm, make their point clearly, and even come out of conflict with more respect, while others leave feeling bruised, bitter, and misunderstood? Here's a deeper question. What if the real victory isn't about winning the argument, but mastering yourself? And what if a single sentence could change how every conflict plays out forever? Welcome back, dear friends. This episode will challenge everything you think you know about conflict, communication, and personal power. We're drawing on the teachings of emotional intelligence, ancient wisdom, and one of the most powerful mindset shifts inspired by Buddhist philosophy and modern psychology. In this video, you'll discover why your arguments often spiral out of control, what emotionally intelligent people do before they even speak, one internal sentence can turn you from reactive to respected, and how mastering conflict is less about the other person and more about mastering your ego. So if you've ever said, "I just don't know how to handle that person," this is for you. Let's begin with a story. Let's dive back in. There was once a man named Alan. Known among his friends and coworkers as someone with a quick wit and a quicker temper. He never backed down from a debate. If someone challenged him, he would go full force, armed with facts, logic, and a fierce tone. Most people avoided getting into arguments with him because they knew how intense he could get. But over time, something strange began to happen. His relationships suffered. Friends stopped inviting him to gatherings. His coworkers avoided collaborating with him. His own family walked on eggshells around him. He began to feel alone, not because people didn't like him, but because they didn't feel safe around him. Alan wasn't a bad person. He didn't want to hurt anyone. But he was trapped in the idea that to be respected, he had to be right. And one day, during a leadership retreat, the instructor shared a sentence that hit him like a thunderbolt. "You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to." That was it, one sentence, but it changed his life. Because in that moment, he realized the real problem wasn't about who was right or wrong. It was that he felt obligated to defend himself every time his ego felt attacked. He saw disagreement as disrespect, and he responded with force, not clarity. From that day on, Alan began practicing a new rule. Before speaking in conflict, he asked himself this single sentence: is this about connection, or is this about control? If it was about connection, he would stay open, calm, and clear. If it was about control, trying to win, to dominate, to prove, he would pause, breathe, and stay silent. And his world changed. Let's take a step back and understand what was really happening here. Why do so many of us lose in arguments, not logically, but emotionally, relationally? Because we confuse reaction with power. In the heat of the moment, we feel a wave of energy and adrenaline, defensiveness, fear, and we think, "I need to protect myself." So we raise our voice, we speak faster, we interrupt, we over-explain. But what happens? The other person does the same. The conflict escalates. One feels hurt, one feels safe. This is emotional immaturity masquerading as strength. Emotionally intelligent people do something different. They pause. They breathe. They regulate their nervous system before they speak. And most importantly, they lead with curiosity, not certainty. Let me share a story from ancient China to illustrate this principle in action. There was a Zen master named Yuan Wu who once hosted a debate among scholars. During the session, one of the scholars loudly criticized another, calling his views ignorant and flawed. The criticized scholar stood up, face red, fists clenched. He was ready to fire back. But Yuan Wu simply raised a hand and said, "Is your goal to defeat him, or to understand him?" The room fell silent. The angry scholar sat down. The tone of the conversation shifted entirely, and later, he confessed to the master. I was more afraid of being wrong than I was interested in being right. And that's the real key. In conflict, most people aren't trying to find truth, or trying to protect identity. They want to defend their image, their pride, their narrative. But the wisest people understand that the most powerful posture in any argument is not attack, it's emotional neutrality rooted in deep self-awareness. Here's the one-sentence practice emotionally intelligent people use in the middle of arguments. I don't need to win, I need to stay awake. Wake to what? To their body signals. With their emotional triggers. To the deeper pain beneath the other person's words. With the outcome that truly matters: understanding, connection, and peace. Let's talk about the science behind this. Neurological lie. When you feel attacked, verbally or emotionally, your amygdala triggers a fight or flight response. This shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for reasoning and empathy. Other words, you literally become less intelligent in the heat of an argument. But if you pause, take a few deep breaths, and engage your parasympathetic nervous system, you calm down, you return to rationality, you regain control of your words, you listen with depth. Emotionally intelligent people train this response. They rehearse it. They visualize themselves pausing before reacting. They meditate. They journal about their triggers. They do the inner work long before the outer conflict rises. And when it does, they don't collapse, they rise. Let's take a moment and reflect. How many arguments have you had in your life where, afterwards, you realized you said things you didn't mean? Often did those words create distance instead of closeness? And how would your life change if you could walk into every conflict with composure, clarity, and compassion? You don't need a degree in psychology to master this. You need a commitment to self-awareness and restraint. Here are a few powerful habits you can begin today. This 3-second rule. Before responding in a heated conversation, count to 3. Let the first wave of emotion settle. Those 3 seconds can save 3 years of regret. The curious question, shift. Instead of saying, "You're wrong," ask, "Can you help me understand why you see it that way?" This instantly reduces defensiveness and opens space for real dialogue. Alright, don't react. When triggered, write down everything you want to say. Let it all out on paper and reread it later. And times out of 10, you'll find a better way to express yourself without burning the bridge. Affirm your values. Remind yourself daily. I value peace over pride. I choose understanding over ego. I'd rather be kind than right. These affirmations may seem simple, but they reshape your internal programming over time. Let's close with a final story, the story from modern times that reveals the power of emotional maturity in action. Young woman named Jasmine worked in a corporate firm where she constantly felt overlooked. One day, during a team meeting, her manager publicly dismissed her idea with a mocking tone. The old Jasmine would have snapped. She would have stormed out or sent a furious email. But she had been practicing inner awareness for months. So he paused, he breathed, he said calmly, "I'd like to discuss that further with you after the meeting. I believe there's value in the idea I shared." The room fell quiet, not with tension, but with respect. After the meeting, her manager apologized. Not only did they discuss the idea seriously, but Jasmine was later promoted to lead the project. Because she didn't let her ego take over. He led with grace, not aggression. He held her center. And that single sentence changed the dynamic entirely. This is your power too. You don't need to yell to be heard. You don't need to prove you're right to gain respect. You don't need to fight every battle to be strong. Sometimes the strongest move is stillness. Sometimes the wisest response is no response. Sometimes the true victory is walking away with your peace intact. So the next time someone tries to drag you into drama, ask yourself, is this about control, or is this about connection? Do I want to be right, or do I want to be real? Will this matter tomorrow, or am I just feeding my ego? And then pause. Breathe. And choose mastery over impulse. Thank you for watching. I invite you to share in the comments. What's one argument you wish you could do over? What would you say differently today? Like, subscribe, and let's build a community that values growth over ego. Until next time, stay centered, stay mindful, and remember, in the space between stimulus and response lies your freedom. You sit wisely.
Before you leave, here's something special. In Buddhism, we believe that every encounter carries a deeper meaning. Would you like to discover your true soul connection, the one written into your destiny? Take the Soulmate Test today and unveil the hidden truths of your journey. Click the link below and begin your path now.
http://soulmate. You wisdom more, come, white.